Oh, here we go again.
Welcome into the video, welcome into the channel. Hope everyone is doing well out there. So it's been a little while since I have talked about the Xbox Series X in my LG TVs because, well, I haven't really been playing Xbox, but I've seen some recent comments asking me about how things are going, if I actually ended up getting that fixed. And what I can tell those of you that have asked that is that after the initial set of problems between the Series X and the LG C3, once I got that fix put in, and I'll card that video in or I'll have it in the description if you want to check out what I did to fix it. But from that moment on, every single time I turned on the Series X with the C3 after that, I didn't have one single issue. It loaded in perfectly, everything worked well, good to go. But since I've seen a couple of questions on that, I have since then moved the Xbox Series X back here into the game room with the C2. So what I thought I'd do in this video is, let's see if the Series X is playing nice with the C2 now, because that's what started the whole thing, is how the Series X was interacting with this C2. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the inputs here. And that way you could see what the TV is saying now that it's connected in here. So let's press the input button on the remote and look over here. I've got it plugged back in on HDMI 4, which is where I had it the whole time before. And you can see right here, I'm still getting HDMI 4. It doesn't recognize that a console's there or anything like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see the first time I power this up. Is it going to recognize that as an Xbox? Is it going to switch the input automatically? Or is it just going to recognize it as a generic device and leave this HDMI 4? So let's get the testing started here. We've got the trusty Forza inspired Xbox controller, Xbox Chime, and let's see what happens here. HDMI 4 now available. That's not what we want to see. All right, let's press the input button on the remote and see what's going on. And as we see here, it's just showing HDMI 4. Now the next test here is to see what sort of resolution is it trying to load into. Is it that 640 by 480 or whatever ridiculousness that, you know, was going on with this C2 before? Is it going to load in properly? Let's click the button and find out. Okay, and this is what I'm talking about. As we've loaded into the home screen here, look what's going on. We have that weird 50% screen size thing again. I'm willing to bet about anything that if I go in here to settings and we check out the display options here, what resolution am I going to find? And there it is, 640 by 480. So the conclusion I can come to after the testing I did between the Series X and my C3 now versus the Series X and my C2 is that once I implemented the fix that I did in that prior video, I never once had a problem moving forward. Soon as I move the Series X back in here with the C2, right away, I come right back to these same issues with the 480 resolution thing and the fact that the TV is not recognizing it as a game console. I've tried just about everything to resolve this issue with the Xbox Series X and this C2. And every time I think I have it narrowed down to it being an Xbox Series X problem, this happens. In other words, I fixed it on my C3. Works perfect. I never have issues now. I move it in here with this C2, bam, the problems are back again, which makes me now lean towards it being this particular C2 problem. Now, I have been flooded with comments in prior videos, thank you for all those, with many people saying, I have the same problem with my C2, I have the same problem with my G2, so on and so forth. So I know I'm not alone in this, and I know it's not specific to my C2. I'm gonna get out of this. This is how much I hate looking at this. You know, I know that it's not specific to my C2. You know, it's just a shame that, you know, there's issues like this out there. And like I said, you know, for everything that I like about the LG C2, and there's a lot of things to like about the LG C2 and the C3 for that matter, then there's something like this. It's just, you know, and like I said, I've tried different fixes. You know, I've got recommendations to change the cables, to try different HDMI ports on this TV. You name it, I've pretty much tried it, and I have it fixed with my C3, but for whatever reason, the C2, I just can't get it right. You know, pretty annoying and frustrating. And to be honest with you, that's probably one of the bigger reasons why I moved this Xbox out of here into my office with the C3, is because once I got it to work with my C3 and I just left it there, because I can actually enjoy the Xbox gaming experience with the C3 because it's working properly. However, I moved it back in here thinking, well, you know, I fixed it one time, you know, maybe I can get it to work here, and you see it. So keep the comments coming. You know, I love the feedback I get on these sort of videos. Sometimes it's just out of our hands. You know, none of us are going to come up with a fix. There's just something there that I can't quite put my finger on to get this right. And the worst part of all is that I turn this Xbox off, I go about my day, I turn it on 2 or 3 days from now, it may load in perfectly. That's the worst part about it. Like making this a repeat problem. In other words, if I had someone in tech support here, like a tech person from LG or Microsoft or Xbox, and I was like, okay, replicate the issue real quick and show me what it's doing, it might load in perfectly, and then the next time I load in, I get this. But that's why I wanted to film this video. I had some people asking me how things were going. I thought, you know what, I've moved it back to the game room now. Let's see if it's working with the C2 now. Nope, clearly not. So, you know, while we're here, you know, let's just do another quick test here. I'm going to do a full hard reset here, or a shutdown. So I'm going to go into settings, go to power options, shut down now, click shutdown, and here we go. Everything just loaded back in after doing the shutdown. I let it sit for about a minute or so. I didn't want you to sit here during the video and just, you know, hear me yammer on for a whole minute while I let it sit and completely shut off. But here we are. You know, this is the first load in afterwards, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. If I had somebody here on site to help me do a fix and they want me to replicate the issue, you saw in the first part of the video, clearly there's an issue or a disconnect there or a problem. The very next time that I loaded back in, it works fine. Everything's good to go. You know, we'll even go back in here to settings, display options, and there it is, 4K at 120 Hertz. We'll pull up 4K details, and the only issues you see here are tied to Dolby Vision, and that's because I have that format turned off. This is what I'm talking about with that issue, is I'm not sure if I'm more annoyed by the fact that it does it at all, or that it's so inconsistent. You know, if there was a way for me to kind of predict when I'm going to have this issue and maybe somehow avoid it by not doing a certain step, that I could probably work around that and deal with that. But the problem here is that at any given time, it'll do what happened in the first part of the video, and then maybe the next 1 time, 5 times, whatever, it'll do this, and then it'll go right back to doing that. You know, it's kind of ridiculous. As always, leave me your comments below. I'd love to continue to hear from you. Let me know if you were having this issue and you somehow got it fixed on your display and setup with a certain fix. Like, tell me what that fix is. Like I said, I'm looking at your comments, I'm taking the feedback, and I'm trying them out. And I'm trying them out. I'm just not trying them out on camera, but I'm definitely doing the things you're recommending, because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal here is to get this fixed. So I'm gonna leave it there. If you're still here watching this video, thank you as always. Really appreciate you sticking with me. Welcome to the new subscribers. You know, I've had a lot of new subscribers subscribe to the channel here in the last few months or so. Really appreciate it. The channel's grown so much more than I ever anticipated that it would. I just do this as a side hobby. I just like doing these videos and talking to you all out there that have similar interests. That's fun for me. I just do this for a little side hobby. Thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you to the subscribers that have been with me for a while. Thank you to those that watch the video and click like. You know, those things really help out the channel, gets my videos circulated out. But as always, with all that being said, until the next one.